UVA survives a close one down in Syracuse, and the new 2023 football season schedule just drops.
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Virginia Locked On Cavaliers Podcast, your first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Our title sponsor today is FanDuel. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. Of course, today's date is 1/31/2023. Welcome to Locked On Virginia. And as I said in my open, we're going to get right to it and talk about what happened, with the survival of this team, and the guts that they played with up there in Syracuse, New York. That dome has been known to be a house of horrors for a lot of teams, but not the Wahoos. UVA winds up pulling out the victory 67-62 against the Syracuse Orange. And I can tell you, the Syracuse Orange, their record right now is 6-6 in the ACC and 13-10 overall. That does not, listen to me, that does not tell the story of how good this team really is. That team is really good. They have a lot of versatile players that can score. They have one of the top outside shooters in the ACC and Gerard on that team. They have a young, athletic scoring guard, point guard / kind of a player, Mintz. Then they have a really good big man who can score and play defense down low. It's just that UVA did a great job of staying with the game plans that Tony Bennett was putting in front of them, and just kept fighting back what the Orangemen had for them. It was an exciting game. I said last night, this was a game that UVA might not have pulled out the previous year or two. For what I know, for what I've seen from the team this year, totally different team, totally different energy, and how they play. They're versatile. There's just a lot of things that they can do. On the perimeter, they have some scoring down low, not necessarily a big proponent of getting points, in the paint per se, a la big man, traditional style, but they do have the ability to score in a lot of different ways, and they can shoot the ball. They have to get away from getting into droughts, which has always kind of been the Achilles heel with this team. They can play some tough defense for a stretch, but their offense would shut down. So that's something that seems like they're kind of understanding or feeling the slowdown in the offense, and they kind of say, all right, since our offense is slowing down, our shots aren't falling, let me try to get to the bucket. Let me try to get fouled. Let me try to, see if I can force the issue by driving. And that's, the mark of a good team. When you kind of feel and you kind of realize, when you're having a tough game and when you need to interject something, that the team needs. Now, it was a great display of passing, of course. We had some turnovers, but shout out to Kihei Clark. Kihei wound up having 10 assists, 12 points. As I said before, Kihei's playing his best basketball of his Virginia career, of his 5 years. And it kind of shows, it shows this, this part of the season. For some stats really quick, I mean, Jaden Gardner opened the show. If you caught the game, you noticed that Jaden Gardner really knows his game, man. He knows his spots on the floor. Jaden Gardner, I kind of put him to the equivalent of like a David West. If anyone can remember who David West was, in college and in the pros, he was kind of a mid-sized power forward, but he would shoot mid-range shots right in that foul line extended area, baseline. His game was just shooting mid-range shots, not really even having to drive to the bucket, because a lot of times the big men would sag off of him. And if you do, he just had a feathery touch, and he would just shoot mid-range shots and score damn near 20 points on you just shooting little mid-range jumpers. That's what Jaden Gardner is. And he had, quite frankly, probably his best game under pressure of the year. He wound up with 17 and 8. He was my player of the game. And like I said, at the beginning of the game, I want to say he scored the first 6 or 8 points, or 8 of the first 11 points. And then he closed out the show with a game ceiling, or what we call a charge, drawing a charge from the big man from Syracuse, who had been just eating up the Wahoos down low, Edwards, for the Syracuse Orange, drawing his 5th foul, with a great charge, and Jaden Gardner, player of the game. And then, of course, he closed the show with the shot. He pulled up right at about halftime, free throw at the free throw line, pulled up, and shoots the shot, makes it, swish. And that was only with like a minute or so left, a minute and a half left, which lengthened the lead. But that is not without that is not to be said without Armand Franklin shooting 2 critical 3-pointers to get the team back tied, and then also putting them ahead with the lead. So, I mean, we had 3 people pretty much close the show. You had Kihei Clark, who shot a 3 and also was assisting late in the game, doing well with ball control, also getting fouled and shooting free throws, drawing fouls on some of the players, and just keeping the scoring going. Then Ahmad Franklin with the 3-point shots, at the end there to bring the team close, and then to put them ahead, and then Jaden Gardner totally closed the show. Now that's a complete team, that we're talking about. When this team does what they need to do as far as executing the game plan, they can do some special things, and we're seeing them do some special things this year. This year, the only app you need at Super Bowl parties is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about the new sports betting partner for Locked On, because they're the #1 sportsbook in America. FanDuel, if you're new to FanDuel, it's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on the Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to whoever will score a touchdown. Talk about any bets that you like here. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. I think it's great. It's a great time of year. Bracket season is coming. And of course, like I said, the Super Bowl, this is when you get a ton of the betting that's going on, before the slowdown of the baseball season. But this is when you really get your bets in, and you really want to see if you can make some extra moolah. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I can feel that this team is really finding out who they are, and they really know where their strengths and weaknesses are. One thing Tony Bennett was doing a great job of swapping and switching the lineups in and out. And I know it's nothing new, for us to see from Tony Bennett. Just another masterful job of bringing in the right people at the right time. But Caden came in and he actually provided some offensive punch. Catching some alley oops over the zone, and then quickly got some fouls. I tell you, I don't know what it is with Caden. I know that he's playing his heart out. He plays hard. Is he playing? Does he play a little bit out of control? Sure. A little maybe unsure of himself sometimes, maybe. But he gives 100% effort, and he never gets the benefit of the doubt when it comes to calls. It's always him making a mistake as far as getting a foul at the wrong time, and but he still has a purpose when he comes in. He shuts down, or he does a good job on the big man of the other team. Still gets rebounds, still blocks shots, but Caden Cedric, has been a victim of this new lineup that Tony Bennett has going in with our guy Bennett Vanderplas playing the center, Jaden at power forward, Armand at 3, Reese and Kihei at the guards, and it's moving. This is 7 games in a row, guys. 7 games, and you have to love that. You have to love what this team is doing. This game, like I said, Kihei had 12 and 10. Armand wound up with 12, and those are the things. When players are starting to mature and starting to come around, that's what you need. I mean, Reese Beekman wound up with 2 assists and 7 points. That may not sound like a lot, but based off of how they play, it's definitely a great contribution. Bennett Vanderplas, just this stat line will give you how important he is to the team as well. He had 7 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Now think about that. That is your center getting that many assists. He had to kind of open up the offense. From a big man passing the ball to the shooters and scorers. That's definitely something that you don't necessarily find on the college level. A big man who can pass, accumulate assists, still rebound, and also shoot the deep 3. And he did a good job. Actually did a great job. But Syracuse is a tough cover, and that athletic zone that they play, they're very long and bouncy, and they just give people lots of trouble with their defense. But they're a 6-6 conference team and a 13-10 record overall. They can beat a lot of teams. I hope they get into the tournament and wreak havoc. UVA has beaten them twice, has swept them this year. And hopefully they don't have to see them anymore. But at Syracuse, even Jim Boeheim said they played probably their best game of the year. And I can probably co-sign on that. And I feel like when Virginia plays these kind of games, this is when you find out how far this team has come from 2 years ago, because pretty much a lot of the roster's the same outside of the true freshmen and Bennett Vanderplas. You really kind of find out, what these guys are dealing with, and how successful they can be moving forward. Locked On is heading to the Senior Bowl. And get inside analysis from the hosts that cover the NFL's next generation in college, and find out which NFL draft boards these players will be climbing. All in one location. Subscribe to Locked On NFL Draft for nightly live shows. from the Senior Bowl on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. I will be trying to tune in on to that because I do some draft coverage, and I've always loved the draft. It's a great time. It's almost, and it is the last hurrah for the college football season. Of course, excuse me, pro season after you have the um, after you have your Super Bowl, and then you get into your your draft, free agency draft, that whole circuit, the Senior Bowl and all that's when, you have your fun with the program pro game, and then there's a break, and then there's a lull. Then you got to wait all the way until the summertime for training camp for everybody to start practicing. But I'm looking forward to it. And I just love the Senior Bowl, and I love the whole thing that comes with the draft. That's just I just love watching it. I watch every pick. Some people that I watch a draft, and they'll sit there and be like, "Man, you're still here," or you're still sitting there watching the draft. You've been there for 3 days in the same spot. I'm like, yes, I'm taking notes. I have my draft manuals, my books, everything right here, ready to go. So, shout out to our crew out there at I think they're in Mobile, they're in Alabama. So, let's see how this goes. Of course, they start tonight. Check them out at 9 p.m. So, everybody, yeah. Speaking of football, just University of Virginia football program just dropped their spring game schedule. Spring game is going to be April 15th, and it's going to be at 2 o'clock in the stadium. Spring football kickoff. Now, this is the thing, man. How I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, what do how this team is going to recover means a lot to me at this point. There has been so much turmoil going on with this team for the past 6 months. From the team just not doing well, and from the team, for the team not doing well, and also for the tragedy, and now, the loss of a couple of beloved coaches. I'm not sure we know where to go from here. When we're talking about, this football team. But the spring game is definitely going to be a barometer of how this team is at this point. You get an opportunity to see, your newly acquired quarterback, Tony Muskett. You get to see all of the, transfers. Actually, all the transfers who have players who've come out of the transfer portal have enrolled. So you'll get an opportunity to see all of the transfers play in the spring game. So you can kind of see what you got when it comes to your experienced players. But it's really a good opportunity to see where this program lies on the field. My thing is, where are they mentally? Where, is this team going to place? I mean, there is a tough, a lot of tough things to overcome. Now, they also dropped, like I said before, they dropped the regular season schedule. Just kind of nonchalantly, just drop the schedule. I didn't think there was maybe they just wanted to kind of ease it out there so that there was pretty much like no anxiety about it. Just matter of factly, here is the schedule, and start making your plans. So September 2nd, they are going to Nashville, and they're going to play the Tennessee Vols. Yes, that Tennessee Vols team that made a lot of waves in the SEC this past year. So that's who they start off with. They have James Madison on September 9th. Then they got you talk about some tough games. They could start the season 0-3 right off the bat, because James Madison one of the toughest teams coming out of the FCS, and have moved up, and they are awesome. And they damn near out recruit a lot of the Virginia stated football programs as well, and has had a ton of success doing it on the FCS level. Then we got Maryland coming in. Maryland, actually, they're going to Maryland, and I've been there. Maryland, a beautiful facility. They got Tua's Tua's brother, Talia Tagovailoa, who is one of the top passers, in the Big 12, and Big 10, and he's gonna do, his thing. He does a great job of getting the ball out, and he's gonna be hell to deal with up there in College Park. Next game is NC State. That's a Friday game. That's September 22nd, and NC State. That's that's gonna be just a headache of a game because you got Robert Anae, Brennan Armstrong. That's kind of the gathering, and I'm not sure exactly how this team is gonna react to that. But Brennan, of course, is gonna want to get together with the UVA and just burn them. Same thing with Robert Anae. I don't think there's any love lost there. Then you got Boston College, the game after that. And then October 7th, which is kind of weird, you got William and Mary kind of, sticking in there. Usually the games that are FCS kind of a teams, you can have those earlier in the year, but you got William and Mary wedged in there. And then there's a bye week. And then after the bye week, you got North Carolina, which, battle for recruits, just another tough game there, with their quarterback, who is absolutely phenomenal. Then you got Miami, and that's at Miami. That's, of course, the North Carolina game is at North Carolina too. So you got back-to-back away games where UVA hasn't done well. Then after that, you got Georgia Tech. Then you're at Louisville on Thursday, November 9th. Then you got Duke and Virginia Tech. This is a very tough schedule, for this team. I'm just not sure where the wins are going to come from. I got to see the spring game. I got to see how this team is developing. They lost a ton of offensive linemen again this year, or offensive linemen that actually have the experience. The year before, they lost their entire offensive line. This year, they lost 3 other offensive linemen who had played and also have, who just did not want to be there anymore. And some of those guys have transitioned on to life and just did not want to play football. I don't know if I've ever heard that for a player who actually still had eligibility and could, and wasn't injured or hurt and could still play. But yeah, those are some of the things that we're dealing with here, in Charlottesville. But I got to see what's going on with this coaching staff. Of course, they did appoint a new receivers coach, and it's Adam Mims. Coach Elliott elevated him from, he was the offensive analyst, senior offensive analyst, and he's taking over that position, and looking forward to see how he does, with that position. Marquise Higgins, quite frankly, could be the most beloved assistant coach to ever coach here in the, at the University of Virginia, and fan bases was irate and just wanted answers, and just, I don't know, it's just a mess right now. But I got some more talking to do. We got some more speaking to do on a lot of subjects when it comes to Wahoo football. But you have some of the dates. The 15th, they kick off the actual game, April 15th. I think they start practicing March 15th. Then the game is April 15th, 2 o'clock kickoff. Then, of course, you got the schedule. So go check out your schedules. Make your traveling plans, and I'll be there as well. We'll be able to talk some more, and the cycle continues. But be on the lookout, okay? And in about a month, I have baseball coming up as well, baseball and lacrosse. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, we get this last month out of the way when it comes to the basketball season. Then we can jump into some tournament talk, which is always hot, and fun. But thank you guys for making Locked On Virginia your first listen today. But for your second listen, check out the brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big game experts, coaches, players throughout the basketball landscape. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.